And welcome to the Paediatric Basic Trainee Orientation. I'd just like to start by acknowledging the Burramata people of the Darang Nation, who are the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I would like to pay respect to the elders, both past and present, and extend that respect to other Indigenous Australians who are present. So thank you everyone for coming. I know people have come just straight from work or from night shift or from other hospitals, and we've got everyone teleconferencing in, so that's fantastic. And I'll really just move on to Rhiannon, who's our first speaker, and then Marilyn Paul, who people know as the DPE from the Children's Hospital at Westmead, will also speak. There's opportunity for question and answer at the end, so if everyone can just write down their questions, and we'll go through all that together at the end. All right, I'll give it over to you.
Thank you, Phoebe. Hi everyone, thank you for coming out tonight. As the slide says, I am the Member Support Officer from the College of Physicians. My name is Rhiannon Moran. Just a bit about my role just before we go on and move on to the prep requirements and so forth. My role is pretty much the conduit between the hospitals, you guys, the members, and the college. As you can see, I work with a lot of different stakeholders to ensure that we can give you the best support throughout your training journey. Yeah, as you can see, we work a lot with the Trainees Committee as well, the New South Wales Trainees Committee. So any questions you have at the college that sometimes you don't know who to go to, I'm your go-to person, so I'll leave my contact details at the end, so make sure you can flick an email my way if you'd like to contact me. I understand most of you have already been through this part of your journey. However, I know there's a few people today that haven't signed up at this stage, so I just wanted to run you through the process. You are eligible to apply to the college once you've completed your intern year and secured a position at a college accredited site. I'd like to take this opportunity to remind you that the college does not assist trainees in finding training positions, that this is your responsibility. For more information about BPT New South Wales network positions, please visit the HEDI website. So all trainees must prospectively register on an annual basis to outline your proposed training for that year. You must do that every year. Mid-year applications open tomorrow and are due by the 31st of August, and applications to apply for next year will open from early December. So in New South Wales, we tend to do things a little bit different here. We have a shared space in your PGY2 year. We share this space with the pre-vocational network known as HETI, which is the Health Education and Training Institute. In your PGY2 year, you're required to complete requirements from the college and also assessment from HETI as well. So what exactly happens in PrEP? Now, as most of you are aware, PrEP stands for Physician Readiness for Expert Practice, otherwise known as PrEP. As you can see, your learning journey starts with 3 years of basic training. Once you sit your written and clinical exams and pass both, you then move on to advanced training, and depending on your specialty, generally takes between 3 to 5 years. So I like this slide because it makes it look so simple. So here you'll find a training overview for paediatrics. The minimum 24 months of core training must include 9 months minimum in general paediatric medicine, 9 months minimum in paediatric emergency medicine, 3 months minimum in neonatology, 3 months minimum in a paediatrics medical specialty. The 12 months non-core can be replaced by additional core training, and also unique to paediatrics, before admission to fellowship, you must complete your developmental psychosocial training, which can be completed during basic or advanced training. Please note we also have flexible training options if you decide to interrupt your training or to go part-time. Now, there's many training resources available to you. By now, and obviously this doesn't apply to the people on video conference, but I will be sending electronic versions. We've got the Basic Training Orientation Guide. This is pretty much a snapshot of everything I'll be talking about today. You've also got, which is unique to New South Wales, your PGY2 guide for 2016. Obviously this changes every year. Now, most of you will be aware of the Basic Training in Paediatrics and Child Health handbook. This will be your Bible go-to book throughout your training. We've also got the Professional Qualities Curriculum, the Basic Training Paediatrics and Child Health as well. All the training resources are available on our website, and most importantly, we have the Basic Training Portal. Now, the Basic Training Portal is where you complete all your prep tools. So please familiarise yourself with the portal. Now, as you can see, there's plenty of support for you, both within the hospitals and at the college. The basic training team, they are there for you with any specific questions you may have about your basic training or wanting to know how many prep tools you have or so forth. In saying that, it is your responsibility, so please try and keep on top of your prep tools. But if you do need to clarify anything, please contact the basic training team. Member Support Officer, as I explained before, I deal with a variety of stakeholders, and if I don't know the answer, I can definitely point you in the right direction or try and assist you through other paths, whether it be the Trainees Committee, the State Committee, or within the college. You've also got Member Services, which has a 1300 number. That's pretty much like a call centre. So again, any questions or concerns, you've got 3 major departments you can contact. Also, I wanted to mention we also have a training support pathway, and this service is to help you if you are having difficulties throughout your training. You can voluntarily put your hand up to go on the training support way if you feel that you need that extra guidance, or you do get put on the pathway if they do deem you struggling in your training. We've also just launched the RACP support program, which is a 24-hour professional and confidential counselling service available to trainees and fellows. I've put some flyers out the front for everyone here today, and I'll pass on the details to everyone video conferencing as well. So here are the prep requirements for 2016. I'll go through each prep requirement in detail now. You must remember prep requirements are due by the 31st of January 2017. However, you are expected to complete these through the year. I was at a DPE workshop just last week, and they wanted me to stress the importance of these requirements and reiterate to you that these are your responsibility and not to be used just as a tick box. They are there for a reason, and just please be on top of them and just don't leave them to the last minute. So your learning needs analysis, known as your LNA, is used to plan what you want to learn and achieve on that rotation. Remember, as paediatric basic trainees, you're required to complete 4 of these each year. The LNA is designed to put you in control of your own learning. You use this tool at the beginning of the rotation to determine what you want to get out of that term. For example, you may want a better handle on an ECG or cardiac failure. Use this tool as an opportunity to discuss your plans with your educational supervisor so you're both on the same page. The PQR, which is a professional qualities reflection, this is optional for paediatric basic trainees. However, it is a great tool for reflecting on what you have learned and how far you come. Use this time, to receive as much feedback as you can, because often once you're in advanced training and on your own, you don't get as much feedback from your supervisors. The mini CEX, you're required to complete 4 of these each year. You'll need to download a copy of the rating form, which is available on the Basic Training portal, and give this to your supervisor or ward service consultant. They use this form to assess your performance and provide feedback. It is your responsibility to transcribe this onto the portal in order for the mini CEX to be completed. At least 1 mini CEX should be completed each training rotation. Again, I must remind you that all these requirements are due by the portal by the 31st of January, and make sure you put these in by the due date, otherwise this training year won't be certified or counted. Okay, the ward service consultant report. These completed reports are not required to be sent to the college at this stage. It is your responsibility to make time with your term supervisor and have this report completed. Keep a copy for your own records so you can take this to your educational supervisor or DPE at mid-year, end of year to help them complete your progress reports. In New South Wales, first-year BPTs, which is the PGY2s, may use the HEDI end-of-term report instead of the college WSCR reports. So as it says on the slide, your annual progress report covers the whole year of your training. This report is completed by your DPE or educational supervisor. You are required to make an appointment, you're required to make an appointment or time with your DPE or educational supervisor and take a copy of all your end-of-term reports and completed mini CEXs. And this gives you an opportunity to have a conversation about your progress through the year and to confirm whether you're ready to move on to the next stage of training. Remember, the end of year is a very busy time for all your supervisors, so we encourage to book in a time ahead of the end of the year. I used to work in advanced training for the college, and often I would see people not submitting their reports or prep tools for that matter and not being able to pass fellowship or waiting another 3 to 6 months in order to progress further or go through fellowship. So it's just not worth it, and just make sure you get all of these in on time. I think I'm repeating myself, but apparently they say you have to say things 3 times for it to sink in, so hopefully it sinks in now. So your Advanced Life Support in Paediatrics, you must complete the Paediatrics ALS course before completion of your basic training. Many hospitals run their own ALS course, otherwise there is a wide variety of courses available. A certified copy of your certificate needs to be emailed to the basic training team, or it can be uploaded as part of your annual application. Remember, you cannot progress to advanced training if you do not provide the college with the certificate. Now, important dates, please put these in your diaries, in your phones. These can also be found on the dates and requirements section of the portal. Okay, we highly encourage you to familiarise yourself with RACP policies. They are changing sort of each year, so it's just good to keep on top of that. The biggest one that's relevant to you guys at the moment is the changes to the progression through training and flexible training policy. The RACP has recently approved changes to the number of attempts allowed at the exams. The changes will be effective from January 2017, and some of the key changes include the number of attempts at the written and clinical exam has been reduced from 5 attempts to 3 attempts. Basic trainees are required to complete all exam requirements within an 8-year time limit, so that's also changed to complete the basic training program. I do have flyers out the front with a bit of a graph outlining where you are in your training and how it does affect you, but pretty much if you're sitting the exam next year, the changes will apply to you. So you'll only have the 3 attempts, not the 5 attempts at exams. But just to clarify, I will send you that information through. So RACP committees, you must remember that this is your college and it's run by fellows and trainees that are here to support you. All decisions are made through wide consultation and through committees shown here. These are there's regular expressions of interest out that go out ever so often, so we really encourage you to get involved in the committees. The New South Wales and ACT Trainees Committee members are your representatives. We encourage you to contact your local trainee committee member if you have any issues relating to your training, and they can escalate that further today, including Phoebe is the co-chair on the trainees committee as well. So obviously we have two chairs, which is adult medicine and paediatrics. So yeah, if you have any questions or concerns, please contact Phoebe. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. My email address is up on screen. Got some business cards out the front as well. So I hope you found that useful. Please drop me an email if you have any questions. My colleague Jess and I will stick around after the event as well if you just want to, if you have any questions that we can answer from the college point of view. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome. So my name's Marilyn. I'm one of the staff specialists here and I work as the Director of Physician Education. I'm fairly new, so I'm sure there'll be lots of things I probably don't know, but I'm really here. I think Rhiannon's done quite a good job at telling you what you need to do. And I guess I'd like to give you a bit of a flavour of how that might be achieved in the workplace. So training's hard. Work is busy. I think certainly in this network, and I'm sure I'm speaking for the Eastern Network as well, who are online, you'll be seconded, you'll do shift work, life will happen around you, you'll have families, you'll get married, you'll have relationships, you'll travel, all these things will happen in parallel to training, and there's a lot to know. We also know that being evaluated by colleagues and senior staff can be really stressful. And sometimes, certainly when you're starting training, it can be really difficult to know what you actually need to know to become a mature clinician. I think something that people forget is, to some degree, training is non-linear. It's not like your training trajectory, you start here and go like that. You'll have different experiences in different areas that will kind of accelerate your learning and experience in some aspects, and some of your other kind of professional development or even clinical components might be stagnant during that time. But what we're hoping is by the end that everybody will take a journey to be a successful independent practitioner. Every change in responsibility is quite different. I remember, it's not been that long since I've been out of training, I remember being team leader for an arrest team for the first time, which was one of my most sort of frightening experiences, doing that at night where there's nobody else around. Those things can be really stressful, and you'll have periods in your training experience where you'll be stepping up, and those things will be really challenging. And I think one of the big shifts, and it's quite a challenging thing I think for some people to get around, but it's certainly what happens in independent senior practice, is that some of the responsibility for training sits within your own time and your own effort, and that you need to be prepared to deliver effort and time to that outside of the workplace. The workplace is there to help scaffold your experience, but it shouldn't contain the entirety of your training. Oh, let's go the other way. One of the things I think Rhiannon touched on, but I think is something that I probably didn't appreciate until I was near the end of my training, is that it really needs to be something that you take responsibility for. The days of sort of training being passively delivered and you kind of receive information and you're given a thing to experience and you just do it, I think those days we appreciate are very much long gone. And everybody will come into medicine, and certainly into paediatrics, with a different set of skills and a different level of experience. And I think we've talked about some of the tools that might be used to sort of scaffold this, but certainly your professional qualities, reflection, and your learning needs analysis are a couple of the tools you might need to have a bit of a think about what you're good at, what your weaknesses are, what you'd like to develop, and create a framework where you're always questioning sort of the path to self-improvement. And I think, you know, it's not always easy to imagine what skills you'll need when you exit training. And if you don't know and you see a clinician who is doing the job that you want to be doing when you finish your training, ask them, what did you need? What did you wish you had more of? What are you still building on? What are the sort of non-clinical skills that I need to be acquiring to have your job when I exit my training? One of the things I think is especially difficult is receiving feedback, and I don't think I really appreciated the value of constructive feedback until I was almost at the end of my training. I think when I was a younger junior, I wanted all my ward service consultant reports to say above average, exceptional, really, really good, nothing to improve on, which is actually a load of crap. I'm a staff specialist now, and there's still things that I can improve on. So I think be fertile ground for the senior staff giving you feedback that's useful. They all want to make you better doctors. They want you to grow. They want you to develop. And you should be fertile soil for receiving and integrating that information into your professional development. Don't take negative feedback, let's call it negative feedback, challenging feedback. Don't take it personally, okay? Sometimes people are giving you that feedback because they actually really care about you and they want you to be better. Okay, and look for opportunities to develop things you're not good at. Put your hand up. If leadership's a problem, ask to lead a ward round, you know, ask to run a case-based discussion or a case conference, something like that. Be looking for things to really develop skills around the things you need to acquire to exit training in a sensible way. And I guess the other thing is we hear a lot of people saying, I'm too busy to get to teaching, it's too hard, I've got, you know, loads of discharge summaries to do, or I've got to do a consult or whatever. You often see people in the coffee shop enjoying a coffee. Prioritise teaching in your day. Make every effort you can, organise your work to avail yourself of the opportunity to attend teaching. It's a really important part of what we want you to experience as part of your training in the network. There used to be a fashionable term when I was training. I'm talking a lot, this makes me sound like a grandmother. When I was training, we used to talk about sort of non-training terms. There were things like relief and nights and things like that. But I really think it's every term has an opportunity to expose you to things that will skill develop for you. You haven't really appreciated the importance of writing notes or a discharge summary until the patient you wrote the notes on has been in an RCA. And you're going back and having to look at your notes and the quality of what you've written in order to, you know, make a statement about something or inform some committee who's looking at how care was delivered. There are really important things about our communication that you can practice at a PGY 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 level that are helpful, even though it seems mundane and a bit boring. I've never heard a trainee who hands over badly pass the exam the first time. Handover is a really unique skill. It's a skill that tells a professional about your ability to identify and synthesise really important information and hand that over to your colleagues. I think it's a really sensitive barometer for people who are ready to sit the clinical exam particularly. If you're not good at handover, practice, 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 practice. Get feedback and practice some more. After hours ward work, well, that's really about your ability to clinically prioritise and time manage, and they're skills that you'll use until you retire. So those things are really important. So try and, even if they're not your preferred terms in terms of experience, look for something to take away. Can it develop your leadership? Can it develop your communication? Can it develop your ability to prioritise? There's no such thing as sort of wasted experience in the hospital. And just to sort of micromanage that idea, every patient is an opportunity to learn something or improve something about you. And this is by no means an exhausting list of the things you can potentially learn with a patient encounter. But there will be many things that you can do. Even if you're putting a cannula in a child, you know, there's the opportunity to kind of talk to families, gain consent, manage conflict. All of these things can actually generate opportunities for you to become better clinicians. And of course, as you go and you see things and you get experience, consolidate your patient experience with reading up around things and asking questions about things and looking into the medical literature, having case-based discussions, because nothing reinforces your ability to learn from an experience like taking opportunities to consolidate. The formal teaching's sort of slightly boring, dry and bland slide, but it's really just to say the hospital does provide opportunities for deliberate didactic teaching, sometimes interactive teaching, and we want you to prioritise taking advantage of that. There are also online and WebEx lecture series that are delivered across both sites that are available to people preparing to sit their written examination. We're in the process of developing a masterclass series across the 3 networks in New South Wales, and we'll be able to give people more information about that. There's, of course, online courses and residential courses that are available to people who are preparing to sit for their exam as well. I might have mentioned this already, training's stressful. These are some of the things I think can be helpful for people that are finding training really challenging. Have a plan, and I guess that again goes back to the idea of owning your training. Work out what it is you need to do and how you're going to get there. Have a support network, and that's not just in the hospital, but that's externally. If you've got friends and relatives who are non-medical, which I think most of us do, prepare them for the fact that training's going to be hard. You're going to have times where you're going to be really stressed, you'll be emotional, your partner will need to know that you'll be snappy and you probably won't do housework for 6 months, and a whole range of things. So prepare them for the fact that it'll be challenging. Give them some ideas about things they can do to be helpful to you through the process. Have a study group, and look, I think the peer support of a study group is really, really valuable. It's a lot about studying and sharing information, but it's just as importantly around, you know, a shared experience of something that's really challenging. Use your time in your training terms to have valuable two-way dialogue about your training with your supervisor. Supervisors are much more interested in giving feedback that's useful if you prioritise that interface as well. You let them know that you're interested in their opinion, you want to know what they think, you want to know what they can suggest to help you progress. There's nothing worse than a trainer who comes to you for the word service consultant report. You sit there and go, what do you think you did well? I don't know. What do you think you could do better? I don't know. Be engaged in the process. It actually makes your supervisor more excited and stimulated to share ideas with you. Care for your own health needs. I think hopefully that goes a bit without saying. If you've got chronic illness, make sure you've got a good GP, you're seeing your specialist regularly, you're taking your medications. I guess going along with that, making sure you access your leave if you're able to, have some downtime. Do things that stimulate the other parts of your body, like exercise and good nutrition and effective sleep. And I think what we know about doctors is we're much more likely to get depressed and anxious than most of the rest of the population. It's a challenge of being sort of slightly type A, as many of us are. So be okay at recognising it, be okay at seeking help about that. And I guess this goes sort of thinking about that issue outwardly. Be on the lookout for peers and colleagues who are really struggling, and you know, they don't always present as, you know, bursting into tears at work. There's often things about their work performance, you know, not being able to be found, sloppy handovers, putting work onto the people, being away from work a lot, changes in behaviour. So one of the really sensitive things are about sort of rudeness and attitude. So lots of reports of rudeness and attitude, which is sometimes a sign that a trainee is overwhelmed. And increasing interpersonal conflict, so that might be conflict within their team or between other teams. They can be real warning signs that a trainee is struggling. What to do about it? Well, I think if you're feeling brave, you could certainly talk to your colleague and encourage them to get help. I would encourage you to resist the urge to be the help that they need, but rather to get them to seek appropriate external support. And certainly respect their confidentiality. So if they've told you that they're struggling, don't take that to the tea room or the teaching session and tell other people that's not appropriate. But if you're worried, there are appropriate people to identify within the organisation, like the Chief Resident or myself as the DPE, who will be able to step in and help manage difficulty as it occurs. And I guess just to dovetail into Rhiannon's last point about the trainee and difficulty pathway. So the trainee and difficulty pathway has been a really wonderful initiative by the college, along with the 24-hour counselling service, to really say, look, most trainees who get into trouble, it's reversible. With enough support, they can get things back on track. This is not about being punitive or having a permanent black mark on your record. It's actually a system that's really designed to help your training get back on track. So don't be worried about availing yourself of those tools. I think they're really, really useful. I think that's all I had to say. Thanks.